Hey, welcome to another episode of Unfiltered and Intentional. Thanks for tuning in now, later, a year from now, whenever that may be. But thank you for always just kind of chatting with us on a Sunday. Once in a blue moon, we'll chat on a odd day off. But you know what I mean. But Liz, let everybody know what to do.
What's up? What's up? Hey guys, as always, happy Sunday. Happy Palm Sunday. We're entering into the Holy Week for those that believe. So happy everything that you celebrate. Happy every day. But thanks for chiming in. As always, guys, please get out there, get the word out. We are here. We're doing the best we can. We love when you're in the comments section. We definitely want you to like, subscribe, and share. So share those clips, let us know what you're thinking, and always light up that comment section. We got a good one tonight.
Ooh, child support. Talking about child
Mhm.
support.
Mhm.
Oh, we're gonna get into that huffing and puffing. But yeah, like like Liz said, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. And we definitely have a Facebook page where you guys could go ahead and chime in as well.
Right.
Definitely not when we're doing the whole show. With that being said, we gotta go into current events with Kia.
Yes, we do.
Um, so many things have happened. We didn't have a show last week. But with that being said, I'm gonna make it nice and sweet and kind of just flow into the topic of conversation.
Yes.
So we already know, unfortunately, our prayers go out to the families that are dying in Ukraine because regardless of what you believe in,
Mhm.
nobody should have to suffer. And also anybody of melanin complexion, who is suffering and they're not able to leave because there's still some out there. So anybody suffering, definitely, our prayers go out for them. Ketanji Brown Jackson is now confirmed as a Supreme Court justice. So, regardless of what you believe, everybody has mixed feelings, right? But I'll
Mhm.
say for image purposes, it's a great thing. For image purposes, not about what her belief system is, whatever, because that's a whole nother conversation, right? But just for visual effects to see somebody that looks like you, is definitely great, because America, I do believe, is a rainbow shade of colors, right? We have a lot of people that are American, and it's not the same way when the founding fathers created the Constitution. So definitely, we're definitely happy that little girls can kind of chime in and look and be like, "Hey, I could do that too." Or little brown boys or Asian boys or whatever, Latinos.
Right.
It's a good thing. But moving on from that, Jesse Williams, Grey's Anatomy fans. I don't know if people out there watch Grey's Anatomy, but
Mhm.
Grey's Anatomy, Jesse Williams, he had talked about wanting to reduce his child support from 40,000 a month payments to a new income of, let's see, I wrote it down, 1668. He used to make $6.2 million from Grey's Anatomy. Now he's just getting residual paychecks for the amount of 183,000. But once again, having millions and thousands are two different things. He does theater acting now, and like he said, the 1668 is what he wants to get it reduced to from 40,000, and that's a huge difference because this is 40,000 a month, not a year.
Right.
I'm going to lead in a little bit more into the current events, and then we're going to talk about that child support because so far I already talked about one scenario. But
Mhm.
stripper, booty shaker, you gotta love to hate her if you do follow Black China. She was dating Rob Kardashian and also the rapper Tigger. She got on social media and she posted that she had to give up 3 cars because she had no support. She's not getting child support, so she had to give up 3 of her big body Benzes and these different things because she just has no money. Rob Kardashian then tweeted, he says, I paid 37,000 for school for my kid, all medical, and I had my child from Tuesday to Saturday. What are you talking about? Then Tigger responds to Rob Kardashian and say, wait, how do you pay 37,000? I pay 47,000 for tuition for my kid. I pay all medical, and I have my child from Monday to Saturday. Basically, she only has the baby for one day. What
Mhm.
the hell are you talking about? I
Hmm.
found when I thought about that and I was reading it, I was like, wow, this is something that we have to talk about just because child support is a kind of a hush hush topic, especially in our community. We have a lot of pros and cons. I'll get on there and I'll see all types of scenarios, and we're going to talk about them. But I wanted to kind of feed into what's going on out there in Hollywood, kind of trickling down for our experiences. So, Liz, tell
Whew.
me, how do you feel about the child support system? Is it needed? Does it need revamping? Is it like, hey, get them? How do you feel about it?
Okay, so it I have so many different point of views, so many different opinions, everything. Most of you guys don't know me like that out there, which is fine, right? But my daughters are 20 and 9, right?
Okay.
And we actually have his, mine, and ours. And so his daughter is about to turn 18. But here we have I have been on both ends of it, right? I've been the ex that needs to support for the kid, and I have been the new chick that's got to deal with the baby mama drama, right? I have seen both sides of it, right? Um, from a celebrity point of view, these issues they're so far removed from everyday life, and you know regular moms having to go to the grocery store and figure this out. But just talking about like Black China and her fake issues, let's just say what that is, right? If her, I don't know too much about her story or anything, right? But if her mother ever had just one of her two child support paychecks for the year, I'm pretty sure she would have eaten just fine. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, right? So this whole notion that poor girl had to sell her cars for attention, but I'm pretty sure those kids are eating just fine. Like
You
just
know, it's funny, and we're going to kind of peel back the layers of child support and the child support system because it affects everyone. The new woman, the old man, the new man, the kids. It does affect everyone. But just talking about that situation, what would intrigue me is because it's so funny because Specs, hey Specs had chimed in and he was like, the hustle is real. And in that situation, I would say, yeah, it's a hustle because there's no way the man is because he didn't say he's paying for food, which of course he is if he has the child. Rob Kardashian says from Tuesday to Saturday I have the child. Tigger says I have the child from Monday to Saturday. When does she even have her kids? So why would you need any type of support if you are hardly ever supporting those kids? You know what I'm saying?
who is it
Um,
support for? What is it supporting?
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you were to make the claim to say, hey, for the day or two that I have my child, I'm needing this, needing that. I mean, we could pull at straws and nitpick, but are you really needing support, on that level, financial support? I mean,
I
a lot
mean,
of, oh, go ahead.
and these two, right? It does. Here's what does not necessarily make sense to me. As much money as they have, as much money as they're paying in child support, they need to pay for some better attorneys because honestly, she should be the one that's paying the support. If the child is with the father all week long, then he's the one that's supporting, or
Yeah,
vice
yeah,
versa, right? Because and sometimes it's the other way around too, right? But in this case, if they're the ones that are taking care of the kids, that are supporting the kids, that probably have the nannies and the recreational activities and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
else,
yeah.
that should be paying child support in this situation, if what they're saying is true, and if they're saying it that publicly,
Hmm.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and believe that it's true. But if they have the kids 5 or 6 days a week, then she should
What?
be looking for child support.
Well, it's interesting because definitely that situation is different from most situations. Excuse me.
Mhm,
But when you would take a step further, I mentioned Jesse Williams for any Grey Anatomy fans out there. And he was married to his wife, got a divorce. Now there's spousal support. And then, of course, there's child support. And he was making monthly child support of 40,000 monthly. I heard some people say, God damn, like you need like what in the world are you doing for that child where you would need 40,000 a month to
mhm.
support a kid? Now, granted, I do feel that if you guys were as one and then you separate, if you want to continue that lifestyle, and I'm assuming the father wants the child to still continue the lifestyle that they were living. Then the judge makes an assessment of the father's income, and then from there says, hey, you do have to pay this. Now, he's not working on that TV show anymore, making millions of dollars, but he does get residual of 183,000, and then that's from the show. Do you think that, because he's not wanting to talk about that, do you think that should be incorporated? Because he set that amount for the $1,668. Do you think that's enough? I mean, I do understand he's not making those millions anymore, but he still is bringing some money in that household. Do you think that he needs to lower it that low, or what do you feel in that matter?
I mean, maybe not that low, and I guess that's exactly why the courts have to get involved and kind of like adjudicate in these instances. Like you said, at the end of the day, we're not trying to punish the child, right? We're not trying to get mama her gravy boat. But if the kid is used to living in a certain type of house in a certain type of neighborhood, going to a certain type of school,
Hmm.
and you have the money, the kid shouldn't have to go from, you know, what they've been accustomed to their whole lives. Do you have any idea how old his child is by chance?
No, I know they're still a kid though. They're not teenagers; they're kids.
Right. I mean, so now if we're talking about like a 2 month old, he played his card just right. The baby isn't used to anything. You know what I mean? But if this child has only ever had organic everything, I mean, you just can't switch from that to government cheese. Like it's just not necessarily
Mhm.
healthy for the kid that's involved.
Mhm.
But I think you asked early on, should we have a child support system? We have to.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we have to. I will say though, I don't think because let's take a look at the comments real
Yeah, yeah.
quick.
We could
So
just give me 1 second. So we
yeah,
got just a couple of good evenings and hellos.
says, hey, glad to see you guys again. We missed you. We missed you guys so much. It's so specs. Good evening. And what else we got? Z says, good evening, ladies.
Hey, 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 hey.
And we got Sunday evening queens. So then you have hi ladies from Chantel.
And then we
And
mentioned about the hustle being real.
real, right? And Chantel says she needs to support that lifestyle. Well, then she need to invest more hours on that OnlyFans then. So here we go. So Cash came in. He said, I think any two parents that are not living together should have a child support agreement in place. Yes.
What
They
about that? Oh, and guys, please let me know if you're dealing with it or have dealt with it. When the brother comes in, like, hey, don't put me in the system, don't put me on the books. I've heard that. That I don't want to be on the books. I mean, at the end of the day, I would say this. I think that the child support system should be revamped. I think that it should be revamped for the simple fact that you do have women who abuse it. But in the same breath, you do have men who are like, hey, no backsies. We did what we did. That's all on you,
no
and I'm out.
vaccines.
And you have to kind of have that balance. So I would love to hear from the men who came out and say, hey, I don't want to be on the man's watch. And then I also want to be able to listen to the women who agreed to that and to why.
Well,
I
so
know a
that's
lot
what
of
I was
women.
going to chime in with, Kia. So, do we need to have a child support system and get the courts involved and everything else? The system should exist. I personally really believe that it should be a last resort. I believe that so wholeheartedly. There was no judge and no anybody else present when you guys made the kid. There was nobody else involved in your decision to be together. There was no one involved in your decision not to be together. And at the end of the day, you're two responsible adults. And, hopefully, right? Don't be an idiot. Don't sleep with the wrong person. So I'm just saying, right?
Mhm.
But it's a shared responsibility. Your first resort should be trying to talk to each other and working it out. I get it. Obviously, if it was that easy, you guys would probably still be together. I completely understand. But either way, there's a third party involved. Maybe there should be more classes around that. I think
Mhm.
that just running to the court should be
The last resort.
third, like fourth, last. I mean, the last resort, and even then, it should be nominal. Like, you know what I mean? There should be a judge saying, "Okay, you do have to pay something. Here's the minimum amount, but let's go from there
And if we're
and
going
be
to talk,
more realistic."
I'm sorry to cut you off. I was going to say, if we're going to talk about the court system being involved in any capacity, I think it needs to be a universal law, because you literally could say, hey, we had the child in Texas. this is what I want. These are the rules of Texas. But when the child has to go over and cross Jersey, there's a whole different rule, a whole different, everything. So I
Wow.
definitely think they need the flat,
So you
you
think
know,
it should be federalized?
I do. I do.
Wow. Okay.
But if we are going to the courts, let's go to the comments and then we'll go back. It's
All
such a
right.
such a topic.
So, Cash said the courts determine support based upon the amount of your income and your level of timeshare. You may be able to raise a child on $1,000 per month, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, and I think that's a great. I think that's a great statement that he said because I've heard a lot of men, like I said, and when it comes to child support, based on the situation, I could be pro woman, pro man. Um, but in reference to what Cash just said, yes, you can raise a child off of $800 a month. It's been done. I mean, I come from a situation. My mama wasn't balling out of control, and she
Mhm.
did what she had to do. With that being said, though, unfortunately, it does hurt the child. I, whoo, it's gonna get personal. It's gonna get personal. I'm gonna drop some bombs, but at the end of the day, let me just say hi to Humble Lion before I start getting personal.
Hey,
Hey,
y'all. Hi, Humble Lion. Long time no see.
yeah.
And
Oh
he's
wait,
already on the horn.
wait.
Let's do that one too. So, although it's needed for deadbeats, it's one of the biggest rackets this country has. It's a disgrace, and it's only there so the state can make money off our misfortune. Right. And it's another one of the systems that disproportionately affects socioeconomically disadvantaged
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the minority community,
It's
particularly the Black community. It,
So
it
here's
truly
the
is
thing.
up
So
that way.
Cash made the statement about the $1,000 a month. I know now that I'm older, of course, you don't know when you're a kid. There was a time when my father was trying to avoid paying child support, and he had to go to court, and he denounced me. Like I don't have a child, named Akia, and of course, then from there they have to do a DNA to prove, because of course he's saying no, and the DNA test said yes. I am, we're related. That's my dad. But with that being said, it makes the whole setup wrong. My father was in the rears. He was paying child support, and I was in my late 30s. Like I don't even know how that worked. I don't know how that worked. Now, what I do know, no, no, no. What I do know is if the parent, the mother, gets on public assistance, then the government is now paying for support of the child. Now you're digging yourself in a deeper hole. Um, with that being said, it's just a situation where how does an individual end up paying child support and the child is no longer a child? I mean, that's what Humble Lion was saying. It's a racketeer job. It's a situation where you'll always kind of be recycling yourself. You get what I'm saying? I felt sorry for my dad at one point. I really, really did because of the.
I don't
Oh,
know
go
your
ahead.
dad's situation, but I mean, at the end of the day, your mother raised you and provided for you for X amount of years, and if he wasn't doing it, that's how he ended up in arrears. Like, period. You know what I mean? And so if she couldn't catch up with him, or the system couldn't catch him until you were 20 or 25, then that's just money that's owed to her. Now it's interesting because if it's child support and it's not supporting a child, I'm not sure
Yes,
how that works. I
but
know somebody else. I'm gonna throw this one out there that his teenage son went and got in a different state because in Florida your cutoff is 18, but in a different state it's like 20 something as long as the kid's in college, right? The kid is in his 20s, no kidding, has now gotten somebody else pregnant and has a child, and his father's still paying child support, which I think is kind of
that's the double
crazy.
standard, and that's why I totally agree with Humble Lion. So yes, you laid down and you made a child. You're both equally responsible for the child. For
Mhm.
whatever reason, the father's not in the child's life. It could be because he moved on, because he's locked up himself, whatever the case may be. Now that the child is an adult, I'm like, wow, is what's going on? Because guess what? If the father, because this was the situation with my father, if my father still cannot afford those payments because he's in the rear, he's going to get his license taken away and he's going to go back to jail. So it's a revolving circle. I'm trying to get out of the circle. My dad told me, and this is before he passed away, I'll never forget, he said, if someone told me right now to take these payments and pay you directly, I would, because guess what? The money should be going to you. You
Facts.
are my child. I want the money going to you. I don't want to have to pay public assistance. I don't want to have to pay your mom. Now I get it. From the certain times of my life, my mom did, take care of me or whatever. But at the end of the day, do you see how he's now stuck in a cycle? Because if he miss a payment, they pulling him over. If they miss a payment, you go into jail. And it's just a
I
continuing
mean,
cycle.
it's a dumb system. Like, let's be so serious, right? Rather than threaten people with jail time or, whatever else, I would almost even go with some version of community service. Okay, well, if you can't afford it, then you're going to go clean the highway for 60 hours and we will pay that money instead of paying it to you for, labor rendered, we'll pay it
So
directly
that's
to
a
your
good
child.
idea.
That makes more sense to me. You have community service that you're now being paid for from the state, but as opposed to you getting those paychecks, your child will get it. And I mean, if you don't want to do community service, well, then I guess you should find some cash, right? But jail time is just one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, because how can
If you're
anybody pay
arrested, you
anything?
can't get a job. If you're in jail, you can't provide. I mean, now
Exactly.
your child has a criminal father. Like,
Yeah, if you're in jail, it's supposed to kind of scare the father, but if you're in jail, you can't work. You're still getting that bill taxed up. So you're still in the like it just doesn't make any sense on how that works. Let's go to the comments because they're kind of flying in. Oh wait, we read that one. Somebody said they love your hair.
oh, what year?
Your hair.
So, all right. So Humble Lion said, if the system was threatening mothers with jail time for not being able to provide for their children, the entire world would be in an uproar. Actually, let me turn that one on its head. We
Hmm.
ready? We ready? Let's dive into this, right? So, if dad does not pay child support, he gets threatened with jail time, right? Now, a lot in different states again is different, but now the courts will determine not only child support, which is the financial side of things, but time sharing, right? The parenting plan and everything else. If you go pick your kid up and mama's just like, yo, this little boy ain't going with you this weekend. Does mom get jail time for that? Nobody threatens mom with jail time. The most you can threaten her with is taking her back to court. Like, that's kind of how that works, right? So if the mom is not allowing you to pick your child up, see your child, get access to your kid, just making it really, really difficult for you. I mean, you guys see what I'm saying? The most you can do is take them back to court, which costs the father money. Because again, it's this the non-custodial parent. I'm going to go with the father in this case. It's going to cost the father money, right? And every time that you run into this issue with the mom, you have to take them back to court. After years of this, and who is this benefiting, by the way? Is that healthy for the child in question to constantly see the parents in courts or calling the police or whatever? How is that affecting that kid? And when the mother's ready, all she has to do is click a button. She goes to the website, childsupport.com or whatever that is, right? And she clicks a button. I like an increase. That doesn't cost an attorney. It doesn't cost a court date, nothing. But if daddy wants to see his kid, what's a retainer fee on an attorney these days? $5,000, $7,000, $8,000? Good luck with that.
So I want to say this, and I know I'm going to sound petty as hell, but I am.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly have to, these situations, we have to take accountability. The man has to be accountable for who the hell he's fucking. Excuse me, people. And the woman has to be accountable for who she laying down to. There's the one guy that has came on our show before, and I know he listens to the show sometime. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna say his name. He's been a guest before. Horace. I have Horace. He makes
Okay.
a lot of comments a lot about the child support and hey, if we give a debit card should be given specifically for these items, like I'm paying for this, some type of track record to see what the
Okay.
mother's doing and this and this. I honestly feel it was your responsibility to see how petty as hell this woman was. It is your responsibility to see what type of person shit to even wear protection. Because if you're laying down, something happens, somebody didn't use birth control, somebody didn't use protection. You knew this stuff already going into the game. You don't just wake up one day and be like, this bitch crazy. She didn't just wake up crazy. She been
Wake
crazy.
up
You know what
crazy.
I'm
She was
saying?
crazy when you were laying down with her.
When
Facts.
you
I'm
was
with
laying
you. I'm all the way there.
exactly. When you was laying down with the girl, you can't be like, well, man, you don't treat my daughter right. Look how you don't even comb her hair. Well, look how her hair, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at the little things that she's doing. Is she carrying herself? And I understand what's done is done, but we
Right.
have to hold ourselves accountable about who we just sticking it into and who we laying down with. Because at the
I'm
end of
all
the
the way there
day,
with you.
these situations happen. Now we're looking at it, we're pointing blame. Well, why am I paying child support? And her ass gonna go to Miami with the money and and just all types of like it's really that ridiculous. Like where has everything went? I know Specs is about to. Oh, he said she pointed
So
up.
she was saying that part to the previous comment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Look
all
what
right,
Specs
so
right there.
but the idea to keep them in jail and is legal slavery, right? The system is working perfectly as it was built,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Because unfortunately, it does affect um our demographic more than any.
So Donna's chiming in. They said, "Hi, everyone. I'm just trying to catch up."
Yep.
I guess she caught up because she said it's not that fast with an increase. I mean, no, of course, nothing is instant, but at the end of the day, it is free, right? You can for free, and I know again because I'm a mom that's been through that, right? You can request an increase whenever you want to. It does not cost you anything. You don't need an attorney. You literally go online and request an increase. They collect what they need to collect, and yeah, it takes a couple months, but at the end of the day, it didn't cost you anything, like at all, right? For a father to be able to see his child with or without a parenting plan, and you got some crazy baby mama, trust me when I tell you, it's not free. It's not
But
easy.
and hold up real quick. And that's another thing when we have these kids, like, and whew, I don't want to take it personal, but when we have these situations where you have kids, right? And you're like, well, you're not seeing the kid. You're not seeing the kid. You know, from face value, it'd be like, man, why wouldn't you want, the parent to see the child? But you may know something about the parent. The parent over there doing the ookie dookie and all types of shinky sink, some stuff going on, and you don't want the child a part of that.
You just look.
No, the other parent may be toxic. So there could be another reason why you're like, you know what, you can't see the kid. I
Yeah.
know for myself,
Mm-mm.
just to throw a little bit of my business out there. No, just to throw a little bit of my business out there. There was a time when I said no, you're not able to see the kids, and the reason why I said that was because I imagine right now, in 2020, well, 1999. Let's use some crazy number. In 1999, January the 1st, you see your child and you're spending time, everything's great. You're going to take the child to the mall, the movies, everything's great. Matter of fact, on January the 4th, you come back and you're spending time, you do everything. Then the child doesn't see you until, I don't know, 2013. And you're like, wait a second, where you pop up from talking about you want to take somebody to Disney? I don't even know who the hell you are. Like, what in the world? Like, just for the safety of the child, just in general, let's kind of ease this in. I think that sometimes, yes, you are the parent, but it does get to be some type of entitlement. I think you have to earn the privilege of being a parent. Just because you created a child doesn't mean that you have that title. I'm a parent and I'm a nurturer and I can take care of the kids. One thing is, I said you've seen the child on January the 1st, 1999. If it's now 2013 and you ain't seen that child or talk to that child all this time, and you pop up talking about let's go to Disney, the child don't even know you. The child doesn't even like, we don't even know each other. So what shouldn't there be some type of bonding period instead of buying the child goofy ears and a lollipop? Like I don't. Sorry. Let me go.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's necessarily what I'm talking about here when I mentioned like your crazy baby mamas. How many audience? How many crazy baby mamas do you guys
Oh,
know, right?
there's a lot of them.
That
There's a
I mean, there's
lot of them.
that it's a power trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
there's
That's not
that.
the,
And so
that's
let's
not the
see.
same situation.
So it says another alternative should be make the non-custodial parent that cannot afford payments or hold down the job provide child care that the supportive parent is responsible for. Jail just further weakens our family structure and dynamics. Yes.
Well, I
So
would ask anybody who doesn't believe in the jail thing, and I just want to hear the opinion. How do you enforce something if I don't listen? Because there are those deadbeat dads, like, you know what? Fuck you and that baby, and just won't do it. And no matter what, what the scenario is, they're just not budging. So I'm just curious, like, how do you force somebody
I mean,
to
it's
budge?
a really really tricky thing because it goes right back to what I was saying before, right? The more you involve the police, the courts, the everything else, how is that of any benefit to the kid at all? Having the father in jail is of what benefit? Having mom sit around and I know at least one person that has made a career of taking their baby daddies to court. Like, you ask her on a Monday, what you doing? I got to go to court. You ask her on Tuesday, what you doing? Oh, I got to go back to court because my other baby daddy. He asked her on Wednesday, what she doing? Oh, well, on Monday, the one that other court didn't work out, so I'm back in court. And I'm like,
Oh,
when do you work?
no, no.
When does he work? Like, what is going on? What's going on? So
I would like to know about her. Let me stop.
that's not. That was the second part of that other comment. We already got
Okay.
that one. Yep. And Spec said, I said in 2020, but you can't always see that crazy.
Well, you can.
No,
You
sometimes you can't because that's what dating is. And I mean, if you just so happen to hook up with somebody and they're showing you their best face and they putting it down and you excited, you in the moment, now you spilled in them and you got a
no,
baby.
there
Like,
are
no, you
women.
you're crazy.
There are women that can be very vindictive. We get it all the time. So something don't go their way. They're lying. They're cheating. They're doing all. They're putting messing up the man's car. I
Mhm.
seen a clip on the social media clip. So the father and the mother are not together. The father drops off the mother. I mean, excuse me, the father drops off the baby. The baby sees that her hair is done with the braids and the beads. These are extensions braided in the 2-year-old baby's head with the little clip beads. The mother's like, hell no, takes a scissor and starts cutting the child's hair off. Little baby screaming her head off. Of course, the 2-year-old has no idea what's going on. It's very traumatic. The father's calling police as they're speaking, like, this is crazy, I can't believe this, because she has scissors. You don't know how crazy this woman can be. But he was like, I hate this, like, I need to do something, because this woman here literally is cutting the braids out of the hair, because I see that the girlfriend did the hair for the baby. That's what you call crazy. But in the same breath, though, I don't think in this situation that you just woke up and was like, this heifer crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody to that point, you would already had like the clues. I know Alistair has something to say here.
Kanye West. Like, I mean, that's a whole custody type of situation.
I
I
don't know
mean,
what to say about that one though.
and she
That
definitely
nigga crazy. I'm sorry.
I mean, she knew he was crazy, and she had
Hey,
not one, not two, not four kids. And now all of a sudden, she doesn't think that he's safe enough to be around the kids. And now all of a sudden, like
she's
again,
stupid
how
too.
does that affect? She's dumb as hell. But that's beside the point, right? How is this affecting these children? Because we can say what we want to say about the kids, but at the
Yeah,
end of the day, at least as far as we can see, he was involved and very like integrated in these kids'
yeah,
lives and everything
yeah.
else. And so to just cut him off one day, and listen, I am not Team Kanye by no stretch of the
Well,
imagination.
that pulls into
But
play. Hey guys, if you're out there, what's your opinion on it? A lot of times, a guy could have been taking care of his kids. Now the girl brought a new dude in there. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, wait, well, I'm not going to be around like that. I feel some kind of way. Now there's a whole conflict, and an issue occurs just because he's like, well, the new dude is taking care of the woman and the kids. Why do I have to do that? I want to know how
it's
you
your
guys
kid.
feel. Yeah, I want to know how the guys feel about that. Like, if the new dude is stepping in there, are y'all feeling some kind of way? Because men can be petty too. Men can definitely be petty.
I mean,
I'm just
I
saying.
don't even know. So Dylan says, well, the only way a father can get on child support is when the mother gets in the system. So if the man don't want the child to be needed to take care, okay, on I don't know, to take care of it by yourself. So that's not the only way, actually, because we're talking about wealthy, super rich parents right now that are going back and forth for child support, and it has nothing to do with the system. This is, I'm not with you, and I have your kid, and you're going to support this kid, whether it's a greed thing, a power trip thing, or a necessity thing. It's not the only way. Is and I know what she's talking about because if you're a mom, if you're a single mom, and you try to apply for any benefits, the first thing that they're gonna ask you is who's the father? Is he on child support? And if he's not, let's start there, which is the right thing for the government to do. Why is Uncle Sam taking care of your baby before you are? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense. So yes, but that's not the only way. It's not. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah, when I tell you the whole thing is screwed and it has young ladies just doing crazy stuff. I mean, I've seen young ladies working in the system and social services like, I need to go get me another baby so I could put him on child support. So the intent is already to have a baby so she could get them stamps. So then she could put him on child support. Like, I don't know what the mentality is about. You know, it has to be maybe with laziness, or I honestly don't know. But it's happening. It's definitely happening. Let me see. We got another comment coming.
Specs are saying
No,
payroll deduction.
yeah,
Besides jail time, what else you got? Payroll deduction. You
IRS comes kicking in sometimes.
IRS. I've seen where you can't get a passport, so if you won't be taking no vacation, so your child is paid for.
Your license can get suspended. I've also seen, because I worked in the bank before.
Suspending your license thing takes you to jail because if you get caught,
Yeah,
without a suspended license. So I would not mess with when you suspend a man's license. How's he supposed to get to work?
that, you know what I heard? I heard a woman. Well, I heard plenty of women say he got to find that out, and I feel it sucks, because it's like, let's just say he was working, and now it's gone. I guess the mindset is like, that's not my problem. That's his problem, and it's like, it's really sad. I mean, it's
But if
really
he can't
sad.
get to work, he can't get paid. If he can't get paid, you can't get paid.
And the
So
answer is, oh well, that's not my responsibility.
it affects your child, right?
Well, you know
Okay,
what?
you know the other thing they say, then they turn around and they say, oh, but he ain't around or he's not coming around. How he gonna get around when he picks your kid up? How they gonna get to Disney? Like what that
It
is
is
that
it is a very, very
it's your
touchy.
child's problem.
Well, also I was gonna say another thing that happens, me working at a bank, when that lien gets on those accounts, I definitely seen that the bank account will be frozen, because there could be a court order saying that they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
garnish your actual bank account. So it can go to that level where you can't even withdraw money out the bank because you got that lien on that account.
Now you can put a lien on somebody's house anytime that they ever sell their property or anything that they have like that. The first person getting their cut is yours. That's another solution. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? But there's other ways to get people's money. Like,
Yeah,
let's be serious. Chantel said, I saw that video. That mother was wrong for that.
it
Yeah, that's
was. I mean, at the end of
crazy.
the day, why is the baby suffering? Like, I remember, once again, I'm gonna throw myself out there. My daughter came home with makeup on her face. I would say she's like about mm, maybe 8, 9. And at that time, I didn't approve for her to wear makeup. And I'm not talking about the pretend makeup and stuff, the little lip gloss. I'm talking about full blown
It's
face.
over. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, what is this? And, me and the girlfriend got into an argument, because I feel like if you're going to alter the way I dropped her off, the father needs to have then called me and say, hey, the girlfriend wants to do a little kids makeover, blah, blah. I thought it would be fun. Is it okay? Now, if I said it was okay, then I could tell her, guess what? My daughter, my actual daughter, she breaks out with certain products. So please
Mm.
don't use these products. So it wasn't even a fact like, I'm like, oh my God, because guess what? You're
Or
not
you could have
stepping
said no.
outside. Yeah, my daughter's not stepping outside to the mall to go get a man or anything. She's in the house playing makeup with the girlfriend. But it's just a simple thing. One, I've taught my daughter all the time, don't share makeup from people that you don't know. And
Mm.
then two, you have to be careful, because certain products will break her skin out. Guess what? My daughter came back home with her skin broken out. Now, how happy would I be? Just because no one contacted me and you decided to go ahead and just do your thing. So I
Mhm.
think communication is definitely key. Of course, when we're younger, we get a little side eye and head roll. But no, I think that was a conversation that needed to be had, and we could have avoided an argument if somebody reached out to me. Can I do your daughter's makeup? And then I would say, no, she's allergic to this, or yes, da 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 da. Please use these wipes or whatever. So once again, the child suffers.
Right. So let's see. Alice said not at all. Oh, because Cash said that kind of crazy is hard to hide. Alice said
Oh
not
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
got
okay.
it. All right. And so Chantel said child support should not be used for sole income. No, it shouldn't. It's both their responsibilities to take care of that kid.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. So she didn't say that she's trying to catch up. All right. And then just saying, yeah, it's a job for them. For some moms, it's a job. It's, I'm going to keep all my baby daddies in court. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. At some point, you should just go with it.
Curious, before I read the next comment, what is your opinion on the mom is taking care of the kids is in the house 24/7, and the father, for whatever reason, maybe he's late in the payment, whatever, but he ends up dropping some money off. And then you hear the story of, you're not taking that money specifically for the kids. Do you feel that the father needs to know exactly what the money's being spent on? Because in my mindset, if I'm taking care of the kids, which means that I am a 24-hour doctor, I am a 24-hour counselor if they wake up with their nightmare. If I paying the rent, if I got the light bills, if I got all these things going on, I'm the tutorer, I'm the cook, I'm the hairdresser, I'm all these things, and I have my own money. I think that the money that you're giving me is a reimbursement. Because guess what? I've been doing these things, like with or without your money, I'm gonna still take care of my kids. So do you think that the father needs to see, like, hey, I gave you $500, so I want to see $500 worth of receipts?
No, I don't think that he should see $500 worth of receipts. I don't think that he gets to decide what it's being used on, but I do think that it should be supporting the kid. Like, you know what I mean? So it goes both ways. So if you are a stay-at-home mom because you got it like that, right, he should still pay child support because the lights get paid. They're on, right? I mean, when he comes by, even if they're doing homework by candlelight, like by candlelight, the candles got to be paid for. So regardless, it's supporting the kid. Now, here's the problem is when he's like, I really don't see how it's supporting the kid. The kid's clothes too small, don't have shoes, holes, clothes have holes in them, this, that, and the third. I mean, yeah, I think it's a valid point to say, dude, I just paid you X amount of thousands of dollars. Why doesn't my kid have underwear? Like, I think that's
Okay, so in that situation,
reasonable.
you're saying, so yeah, so what I
Yeah.
hear you saying is that's case by case. So my situation is a little bit different than the situation you're talking about because my kids are clean, my kids are this, my kids are
Right.
that.
If the kids are taken care of and
Yeah.
the money is going towards taking care of the kids, then there's no questions asked. And I'd like to say from the majority of mothers, right, that for the most part, they are usually doing the best that they can. But for those really ratchet moms where, the nails are on point and the hair is on point and the lashes cost more than his car note, and, and everything else, and the kid their hair is matted up because when's the last time
Yeah.
anybody combed it? Like,
Yeah.
I think that it's a valid point. I think it's fair for him to go, where is
Wait
this
a second.
going? Like,
So
yeah,
let me
that's
ask the next question. I hope the audience chimes in, and once I ask the question, we'll go to the comments. The question is: so you have two kids.
mm-hmm.
Kid A is yours. Kid B is not yours. The
Mm.
money is getting sent. Do you want that money to go specifically to Kid A and screw Kid B, or are you just like, hey, we're all one family? Like, I'm very
Ooh,
curious.
that's a good one, Kia.
I'm
Okay.
very curious on how that goes. But we can go to the comments real quick.
So she said they have a work license. Some states,
Yeah, it's based on the state.
some states. It's Spec said, I'm always about family. So if my daughter's mother has a new relationship, it's a given that we all sit down and talk and get to know each other and vice versa.
That's good. That's
Yes, Specs for
good.
the you
Question
need
for
to comment of the night, Specs.
Yes, and question for you, Specs. Do you feel this way now that you're older, or how did you feel when you was younger? Because definitely the way we feel when we were younger was like, well, who this person? Like a lot of us felt differently and more hot tempered. So I'm curious if you've always felt that way, or this is just a recent thing, because you're older.
Ooh, I can answer that. Me, put me in.
Oh,
So
somebody said
I
never
can't.
thought looking younger,
Oh,
boo. Oh.
thank you.
Oh, what was
so,
you gonna say? Uh-huh.
so here's my thing, right? Because I was definitely younger, and with my ex, I said to him, he was on the scene, like he was on the scene for sure. You know what I mean? He was making up for lost time because I guess we got married too young. And I said to him, hey, while you're on the carousel, don't bring every woman around my daughter. Like that's just not that's just not a good thing for her, right? But once you get there and you're settled, by all means, we can talk about it then, and I'll meet her first, right? And when I got serious and I moved on, the first thing I did was introduce the two of them. And I'm speaking from personal experience, and I introduced my ex-husband to my future husband at the time, and I'm like, hey, like this is who's around your daughter. I think that you should know him, and I don't think that you should be besties or anything. But if there is an emergency, there's a good chance that he'll know before you do because he's physically here. So you should have each other's numbers and so on. On the reverse side of that, and I was very young and I had that foresight. On the reverse side of that, when my stepdaughter came around, first thing I did was call her mother for exactly the same thing that you said. And I said, hey, let me introduce myself. You know what I mean? First, I want to make sure, because he said that your daughter's coming over to spend the night. Is that okay with you? If it is, here's my number. If you want to get in touch with her and his phone's not, he's not answering his phone, you can always call mine. Is she allergic to anything? Honest to God, that's a conversation I had. And I was in my very low 20s. Is she allergic to anything? Is there anything that I should know about? Are you sure you're comfortable? Because I don't want to step on any toes. We good? We good. And we proceeded from there. So, I mean, it has nothing to do with if you're ratchet, you just kind of ratchet. Right? And if there's a level of class and maturity about yourself, and if you're putting these children first, and the children are always going to come first, it doesn't really matter how young you are.
And jealousy does play, jealousy is separate from being petty. This is a whole
Mhm.
nother trait. And jealousy does kick in. Imagine you really wanted to be with the guy. You thought that this was because you see that sometimes, right? So you have family A. He left
Mhm.
family A to go to family B, but he's real successful, right? He's supporting them kids. He's loving them kids down. He done got the scholarship for the kids. Like he's a full dedicated guy, but then left you and the baby hanging. So that's like, well, what, kind of makes you feel inadequate. Like, well, what happened here? Why are we being treated this way? So definitely, the situation itself does have to be case by case, but you have to have those conversations,
Mhm.
with the other person.
So let's see. Chantel said all he needs to know is that his kid's being well taken care of. That's it. That is your receipt. You see this healthy child? Receipt.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yep.
definitely,
Mhm.
definitely.
And so, all right, we got a Facebook user chiming in. If the kids are fed and have a roof over their head, the father should be grateful. I don't know that I would go with grateful, but I think that he should what's the word I'm looking at? Acknowledge it.
Yeah,
You,
no,
you know
because there's a
what?
lot of kids out. Well, you know what? It's interesting because there's a lot of mothers out there who are
Mhm.
watching the kids, and the kids know how to swing on a pole. And you're like, wait, you only 4? How you learn? Because the mama teaching them, and it just all types of crazy things. And you don't want to say those stereotypes, but some of the stereotypes be real. You're like, what is going on here? Like, all types of people in the house. It's interesting because there has to be a level of respect. Like you said, you on that carousel, you dating, because dating and getting married is two different things. So what is this child now exposed to? Is mom
Right,
running a whole house? Is the father running
right.
a whole house?
Hold
You know what
on.
I'm saying? Where
Right.
everybody just kind of coming and going, and you just call him uncle. Just call him Uncle Leroy, or call
She got a lot of uncles.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? How many kids call the boyfriends the uncle? But
Oh gosh, here we go. So no, he doesn't, because if you calculate and pay out more than the father, and if he it pays out more than the father anyway, so he doesn't need to see anything. You right, Liz. I mean, right. Like your receipt is this healthy, clean kid that's doing well in school. I think report cards are receipts. If a child is in a good situation, generally speaking, they're going to have better than average grades, right? Children that struggle through school struggle because they're hungry, they're going through things psychologically, mentally, in the home, whatever, right? So I think that good report cards are receipts.
my thing is, if I had to talk to a judge, of course, I have adult kids now, and then I have a
Mhm.
little one, and I'm married. So there's no co-parent. I mean, there's no co-parenting separate from the household. It's just one household. But if I had to do it all over again, I would honestly say that if I had to talk to a judge, I would not want your money. I want the time. The time is so, so detrimental with those kids. Now, of course, yes, money can help or whatever, but I don't need your money. I want the time. The time that you have with those kids, it for me, it outweighs the money. Now, yes, like I said, the money can help for people who do need it, right? The extra this, the extra
Right,
food,
right,
whatever.
right.
But in just my situation when they were younger, the time. It hurts the kid if the father or mother, talks to the parent on day one, and then a whole year later or 8 months later, then talks to them for the second time. They're
Mhm.
wanting that love. They're wanting, I mean, the more love, the merrier, right? Kids love
Mhm.
to be loved. So, it's not a bad thing, just that time.
Actually, I think that one thing will affect the other, right? Because if you were spending time with your kid, you would actually know what their needs are.
Yeah,
And even
that's
if
true
you
too.
didn't give me the money, it would be, you know what? Let's go have fun. Let's go buy some sneakers today. Because
Yeah,
the kid
or you would
obviously
know about the
needs
game. You would know about the game
you
tournament.
would know,
Yeah.
right? You would know that the kid is playing basketball. You would know about you would know they've always wanted to play the guitar or whatever it is. And that's what the money is for, right? So if you all of a sudden have it in your heart to go buy little Johnny a guitar, well, then that's what the money would have been used for. So I think that the more time you spend with your kid, the more that you'll actually know what they
Before you
need.
read that comment from Alice, I do want to say one thing that is beneficial about the courts, though, because if the court is implementing, hey, you need to pay, let's just say $1,000 a month for, little Johnny. At the end of the day, it's kind of like because sometimes it's like an automatic deduction. I don't even have to ask because sometimes you hear women say, hey, like you said, hey, is it okay if you send me a couple of dollars? I see a lot of baby mamas do that. Can you send me $200 for little Johnny's so and so program or the after school this and this? Why are you asking for anything that you're entitled to? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If you're entitled to the money because you're taking care of the kid, why you have to ask? Why do I have to plead with
Are you
you?
talking about a father that's generally supporting their kid already,
No,
or a
no,
father
no.
that's
If
not supporting their kid?
he's
Okay,
not
got
supporting the kid, the court said yes, he has to pay this. I think that it's good that the court would implement, hey, here's the deduction going straight to the mother, because now she doesn't have to belittle herself and
you.
say, hey, I'm sorry to
I
interrupt
would agree
you
with
on
that.
that Friday night. Can you please spare $60 for her new so and so? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a grown woman. How the
But
hell
now,
I'm getting on the phone with
let
you
me
talking
touch
about
on
please
that too, because there's some parents that are you got daddy paying what was it, Rob Kardashian pays
37,000?
$1,000 a month or whatever, and I'm pretty sure old girl is still like, and he needs some cleats.
Don't even talk about her.
You don't
She's
find your debit card.
You know what? I'm not gonna mix with those people right now. But go ahead, read Alistair's thing.
Right. So he said no participation trophies. The other dad needs to step up to the plate and take care of his kid. Every so often, perhaps, but not the norm moving forward. I think you were asking if there's two kids in the home with two different dads and you're paying child support for your kid, should it help out with the other kid?
Oh, that's his
That's where
answer.
he
No
said no
participation
participation.
trophies.
Nah. And so, I mean, you don't get to come up by proxy. Who does that?
So the man would say, no, if I'm paying for my son, little Leroy, that money's for little Leroy, not Leroy and Tony. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Hmm.
See, now this is interesting. I got into an argument with somebody like that because I raised my family. We move in one circle. If one person is hungry, guess what? The other person is not going to go hungry. We move all together in one circle. Meaning, for instance,
Hmm.
the put it like this. So let's just say Tony, child B, is not the father is
Okay.
not doing what they're doing. We can't even find child B. So child B is not going to be able to participate in the programs, not be have worn shoes, have holes in this. As a mother, the mother's not going to say, you know what, I'm going to just only look out for child A. Child A's father's coming through. I'm going to take this money specifically for child A and keep it like that. They're going to look at child B and say, you know what, we're going to both, y'all, I put it like this. If he sent enough money to buy some super, super expensive shoes for child A, I'm thinking the mother, just being a nurturer as she is, will divide that money and say, you know what, both of y'all will have shoes. Because what mother would say, fuck you, child B?
Why is that father now taking care of this other
Well,
kid?
let's just say he's not around. He's a deadbeat.
But he's not that clearly that we're talking about. Okay, Dad A is paying child support. Dad B
Yes,
is not, right?
yes.
Why is Dad A taking care of Dad B's kid? Like I completely see
He
what you're saying
shouldn't.
as a
No, no,
mom,
no. He
but
shouldn't.
as a mom, she's wrong.
No, no, no. He should not be taking care of anyone else's child. But as a mother, though, I know that moms are nurturers, and moms are not going to be like, you know what, you can't get any shoes today, and the other one can. Like if you both wear shoes, that's kind of like if your child going hungry. Is one starving and the other one ain't? Like I don't.
I don't know. That one's hard. Like I actually don't know anybody in that situation, but I do think that she
I
would
mean,
be
think
wrong
about rent.
if
If
you
we
pay
pay,
her $200 for J's, right? So this baby's supposed to have Jordans, and instead you go get both kids Skechers because you couldn't afford Jordans for both of them. Um, honestly, as a mom, that's actually kind of your fault. One, because you found the wrong baby daddy. The
yeah,
second
we
one,
know that.
right? And then two, well, then you need to figure out how to. All right, so you already got Jay's paid for the first one. Figure out how to pay for him for the second one, or buy the shoes that dad intended them to buy it with. And when he goes to visit, when your son or daughter goes to visit their dad, put those shoes in the bag so that she can
But
wear
hold
them.
up real quick. But hold up real quick. So here's the caveat to that. So if for Alice to saying no, there's no participation trophies. I know you're saying, wait a second, where's the other father? I have literally seen kids, now not the little kids, but the teenagers, because they have a little bit more cognitive awareness, say, you know what, this is my brother, this is my sister. I'm not gonna go walking around with them J's and this, and she's over here or he's over here looking crazy. They literally take their own stuff, to give to their sibling because they know that this other sibling is asked out. And I mean, at the end of the day, I commend that child for doing that
I
because
do too.
yes, I mean, because no, we understand that the father for child B is not around, but I commend the child for holding the sibling down because at the end of the day, we're still related. We're still kin. You that's what you do for family. You know what I'm saying? Like it's unfortunate that that father's not there, but at the same time, he's gonna go to the prom with a nice jigged out suit, but the brother's gonna be sitting there with the holes in his pants.
And I mean,
I
I think
actually
so that
I
especially
give
if
high
you have,
fives to that.
I think that if Dad A in the situation is doing the right thing, and he sounds like he's probably a stand up dude, if he's got it, if he's doing it right, maybe have that conversation with him and kind of own your shit, right? And so it's just like, hey, I really appreciate the money you sent for the shoes. It kind of went down this way. You know what I mean, or
Tell him.
whatever. I think that you should
Okay, so you're
communicate
saying
that
tell him.
well,
Okay.
you send that money to my house, and what I do with it is my business. Not if it's designated for a certain purpose. And at the end
Okay,
of
so
the
you're
day,
saying okay.
right.
Okay.
So if let's go with the first scenario that you threw out there. If what's the one girl, Black China, has another baby for just Joe Schmo tomorrow, um,
Mhm.
that baby's not going to live in a shack while her and her other kids live in a mansion. You know what I mean? But I do think that a conversation maybe should be had, and
Okay,
that
I can see
it
that
should,
a conversation.
it's not like, well, if you're going to send a PlayStation to this house, make sure you send two.
No, just an
I,
extra. I would say get an extra
that's
controller.
hard. So let's see. I'm lost in the comment section here. Okay, well, I don't like it that when the father is taking care of his kids 365 days a year, that he's still paying child support and the mother can still talk smack and don't let him see the kids. Right.
Yeah, that's why the court system, I guess, to a degree, does play thing because at least they can fix that, because he should be able to have visitation rights. Now, granted, if you know that the father may be a drug dealer or he's doing these gang things, like something that's illegal that can hurt or maybe hurt the
Mm-hmm.
kid,
Mm-hmm.
definitely have that proof. Hey, the reason why I don't see, my child to go over to the other one because he's bringing a whole, racketeering thing over here, and so the judge can see that. So I definitely think that at least they can meet the court system can mediate that.
It's Chantel said this conversation is triggering to my current situation.
Oh,
Yikes.
I'm
Sorry.
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 Oh no, I'm sorry, girl. Oh, be
That
strong.
time is everything because it is.
Yeah, it is.
Um, Diamond said, right, LOL. I was going to say that. This uncle or the uncle, what is it, Uncle John or Uncle Jay, child boo. If they really about that and want to be deep, they don't want every time Dick and Harry around your child.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sensitive topic, and you have to have those adult conversations. You have to. I mean, if you out there fucking, which people are because that's how there's a kid created, then you need to be able to open your mouth the way you did last time. Sorry, I'm being unfiltered,
Mhm.
and have a conversation. Period.
Mhm. So she said, "You're right. Time is everything." And let's see, he says the time and support should be automatic. It's your responsibility as a parent,
Yeah.
right? Which is why I said the court should be a last resort. So Toya said that's what I meant by childcare. The one not working takes care of the child hands on. So all right. So if mom is the one that's working 40 hours a week and dad claims that he can't take care, he can't meet his financial obligations. Okay, well fine then. You're the daycare. You're the after school pickup and everything else. Yeah. That gets tricky though, because at that point then he becomes the custodial parent, doesn't he? Just
Yeah.
saying. So she said that would create a bond with the kids. That makes
Yeah, I
sense.
think that was talking about the fact,
The
also,
time.
like if you're talking to them on day one and then day 25, you call back later, there is no connection with the kids. So I'm
Right.
not going to drop my kids off with you and they don't even know who you are.
Hmm. Cash said, I would hate to have to ask another adult for money. A support order helps both sides as they know exactly how much they have to pay and when.
Yeah, this is good.
So Alice said, that's your responsibility as the kid's mother to make sure that both your kids are fed, not mine. So my kid should not have to suffer or go without because the other kid's dad isn't doing his part. Hell
So
no.
I'll say this on that, and I'll say this on that
Right.
point. So if the money that you sent, let's just say you sent the $1,000 a month. All right, boom. Send $1,000 a month. But let's just say you had specific toys for that child. No, those toys are specifically for child A. If child A, who was taught how to share in a general sense, says, "Hey, I have another controller. You want to play my game?" Of course, that's the right thing to do. And this is if it was a neighbor, right? They're sharing their toys. It's not theirs, but specifically. So if there's
Mhm.
specific items, and this is my personal opinion, if there's specific items that you bought your child that you say, "Hey, I want child A to wear, whatever, whatever," that's fine. But if you're sending money in a generic sense, you don't know what's going on in my household. The kids, and that's the thing about it. That's the thing about it. Being a parent is not one dimensional. It's multiple layers to it. You know, sometimes a dad or a mom, whoever we're talking about, could be like, "Oh, this needs to specifically be for this." It's like right now you said, "Hey, I bought a car for you so that you could take child A to back and forth to their games." So you mean to tell me that if you bought a car for me so I could take child A back and forth to the gate, the next kid that I have can't get in the fucking car? Like, how does that even work? Like, I have two kids. I'm gonna tell kid B, "Well, you know what? You're gonna have to tell that no good ass daddy of yours to go buy me another car." And then you have to walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain
Right.
things.
We're not talking about that necessarily. Okay, and I'm going to I'll make it a little personal. Why not? All
Okay.
right. And so, as I mentioned, I have an older daughter from a previous marriage, and her father has always done his part, taking care of her. And when we split up, obviously, I went from a two-family household to a single-family household. I was by myself. I'm trying to make it. It didn't necessarily happen in a really methodical plan that way, because like you said, we're young and kind of messy. So, as it turns out, she had everything that she needed. It was provided by him and his family, grandma, everybody was involved. I
Okay.
did not have what I needed. Now, it's not the same scenario as what you're talking about, where it's two different kids, but we are two people by ourselves that live in an apartment, just the two of us. She can live, to the standards that her father is providing her for. I did not live to those standards. And anybody that knew me in that time of my life can attest to that. So if you walked into my apartment, it was crazy because I had a one-bedroom apartment. The one bedroom actually belonged to her. Because similar to what I was saying earlier, I'm trying to keep her where she's always been. She's always had her own bedroom. It's not fair to her that all of a sudden now we're sharing a room and sharing a bed. So the one bedroom I put her in, and it was beautiful. It had a canopy bed and everything. Why? Because that was provided for her.
Okay.
Right? I'm not going to crawl up in that bed. It's not for me. I didn't want to, and it wasn't anything. It had nothing to do with
Got
me.
it.
So
Got
if
it.
you came to see me, we sat at that time in my life. We sat on the floor, Indian style. That's how we were chilling. You know what I mean? And everybody was just like, "How is your kid's room decked out, and you're sitting on the floor?" And I'm like, "She's provided for, and I'm doing my best." Like, and so even though we were in the same house, we were living two different lifestyles. Like the kid had passport stamps. She had so many. We had to get her an extra couple pages for her passport because she was traveling and seeing the world.
Which
I
is
was
fair.
not. You know what I mean? And so yeah. And again, I'm not a kid, but at the end of the day, if you came to my house, you could literally physically see the disparity between the pantry was full of her snacks and Mama was struggling. And if he came and he gave me a 300, he gave me $300 and said, "Go to Walmart." I went to Walmart and picked up every single thing that she needed, and it didn't matter what I needed, that didn't make it onto that list.
Mhm.
So if you can't take care of yourself,
Mhm.
don't have more kids.
But here's the kicker, though. I'm gonna throw one little piece into there. I would not shame you if, because right now you said I didn't have the money. Okay, is your job your responsibility to go find more money, get a job, whatever the scenario is. But
Mhm.
I wouldn't shame you if you say, "You know what, damn, I'm short on them tampons, that should be free anyway, but they're not. I'm gonna take $5 out of the $300 of those snacks, which she ain't gonna eat anyway, and go get me some tampons or whatever the case may be." Because it has happened. It happens in such situations.
Yeah.
Can I say this? Can I say this? Because
So,
because here's the kicker. So you said that this took place in a certain time in your life, right?
mhm,
So in a
mhm,
certain time in your life, you was down and out, and she had everything. You take $5 or $10 to go get some gas for your car. Go ahead and get them tampons that you needed. Believe me, when you finally get on your feet, you're going to go over and beyond. Mind you, you're still paying rent when she's living in that house. You still pay electricity. You still do every single thing that he is not doing. So excuse me if you took about $5-10 to go get some tampons to go wipe
I mean,
your
and I feel you.
I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. I'm getting upset.
Don't get upset. Don't get upset. I mean, now to be fair, as I just mentioned, right? We're going back to the situation I gave with the Jordans. You know what I mean? I couldn't spend the $200 on this because I spent $100 on each of them instead.
Yeah.
I actually did, in fact, have to have that conversation with him, and it was very humbling for me to have to say, "Hey, I know you gave me $300 for this. I took 50 of it because I needed X, Y, and Z." And I mean, and clearly this is my ex, and this was hard for me. But at the end of the day, what he said to me, and this was just my situation, was, "Well, I mean, if your car runs out of gas, you can't make it to school anyway."
There you go.
You know what I mean? And so what he ended up doing was a gas card to help out, which I mean, but I was very blessed. I can say that. You know what I mean? With no bones to
but
it.
Here's the scenario.
I had a pretty good ex-husband. I mean, better as an ex.
I guess the scenario in that, just to answer Alistair's point of view as well, is if you took $50 to get the gas or to get the the tampon or whatever you needed it for, you're not doing it and saying, well, you know what, I'm not going to replace it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to end up doing for my child afterwards. I got my stuff. I did this. Now, if you took that money and got your nails done or something that's superficial that didn't need to happen, then granted. You know what I'm saying? That's like you having another kid. Your baby needed some insulin medicine or something. You're like, man, I wonder if my ex is going to mind if I took some of that money to get that insulin shot. You know, like, well, who the fuck you was fucking? Michael Myers? Like, who's this evil nigga? Let me go to the comments.
Yes. So let's see. Actually, I think you skipped one. Go back one. It's Diamond. If you're married, that's the only way, Dad. It should be if you marry the cow, you get the calf, right? And so that's what the old folks say. You take care of everyone. So yes, it's different. If you meet a woman that daddy isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, and now you decide to come add to that equation, and especially if you guys have another kid, everybody's coming up together. That I'm absolutely in agreement with that one for sure. So let's see. Al said the mom needs to step up and find it elsewhere.
Yeah, you know what? And while I'm bleeding out my asshole because I can't. Let me stop. Have a period once in a while. I'm sorry, Alistair. I'm getting upset. But once again, it's not that I'm saying that you. But hear me out, because I've been in down and out too, right? Back in the day. My thing is, it's not that you're taking the money and saying, you know what, I'm not going to replace it. You kids could go kick rocks. You're doing what you got to do to make ends meet. You're doing what you took that gas money because maybe you had that big job coming up, right? So I took $50 of that money that you gave for the little girl, but I'm taking that for gas money because guess what? I'm going to be able to provide for her more than you could even do so. So I think you had to look at those type of dynamics and kind of peel back the layers to see the parent. Because no, it is true. There are some parents, you spend the money and the kid looking crazy. The kid ain't eating and all types. Why is the mother fat, weighing about 500 pounds, and the baby's all malnourished?
Very good question. If I see one more of these moms where weave tight, gold jewelry,
and the baby
out Friday night, and the kid is always just covered in drool, like you couldn't wash the kid's face. Like,
I do understand. No. But I think it's case by case.
Absolutely. And so he said it's fine for the kid to do so, but not the mother. So like you said, if Johnny says, I want to share with little Susie, it's cool if the kid wants to do it. But
I'm so glad my kids will be like, Mama, you bleeding out your ass. Let me get
you. Kia.
Time. I'm glad I got nice kids. Damn. He would be like, Alistair be like, bitch, die. Damn.
Spec said you don't get to call yourself a good parent and steal for my child. and steal for my child. Yes, I got you. And so
but who is stealing because I get gas? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We were talking about gas. We were talking about he sent money for this kid, and you shared it with all your kids.
I know.
Cash said, and Cash has, you know what? I'm going to take the crown. I'm giving it to Cash now. So in that situation, you got to give me my baby. Absolutely. I'm all the way here for that comment. You know what? You got a bunch of kids you can't take care of. Give me mine.
I didn't say a bunch of kids. I said two.
Take that one off your head. Let me take that one off your hands. Nothing to worry about. Give me my baby. So I like it, Cash. I like it. I'm with you.
I don't know.
So Alice said,
Wow. Wow.
okay, I'm gonna get it together. He said,
Wow. Life is, I read it. Life's hard, kids. Sorry your dad didn't do right by you. Wow. Talk about keeping up the baby spirits. All right. It's okay. Wow.
yo, we're keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And so Diamond said, now that's the thing that Liz brought up. He would have to get an attorney and his own to get visitation rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so and also it's not cool that the father can't claim the kid on the taxes.
I think whoever's taking the, yeah, well, I think it's the person who's taking care of the child. If the mother is has the kids, about 300 times out of the year, why is he claiming any taxes? Or it should be a,
Okay,
or it could be, or
if
well, it can be
he,
a conversation, right? Maybe 1 year you claim, 1 year you're not. I mean, at those times, in reference to the comment that was just made, it has to be looked at per situation. Because what happens, the guy is truly a deadbeat. Like I said, you seen him January the 1st and he came 5 years later. Is he claiming kids on
that's different.
taxes?
But and Diamond, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. Let me know. But okay, so if mom is a stay-at-home mom, right, and dad pays child support, if I'm not mistaken, the way that your taxes are read, and I'm not entirely sure, is do you provide more than half of the income that supports XYZ person? If the dad is the one that's providing the income, the answer to that question for dad is yes. It doesn't matter that the kid is with mom all the time. Who is financially providing for the kid? And if that's the case, who's claiming them on the
So I'm
taxes?
gonna put it out there, and I'm so sorry I didn't get the actual where it was quoted
Mhm.
from, but they said that the job of a mother, or I'll rephrase it because there are dads who have the kid all the time, but the dad of that, excuse me, the parent who is actually taking up care of that child, if they're a stay at home individual, it constitutes of bringing them about $60,000, because once again you are forgetting that the mom is the doctor, she's the lawyer, she's the advocate, she's the cook, she's the cleaner, she's the this, she's the that. She does a lot of different things to take care of a baby. It's so interesting because just like we had a conversation like a woman's role, whatever, we were like, my kitchen. We know our babies. We know exactly what's wrong. Right now, the dad come in, like I said, and please pardon my language, because I know there are dads who have custodial rights of their kids and they're the main ones or whatever. But just in a general sense, because we're talking about moms, the mom is always there. A mom's clock is on 24/7 compared to that dad. That dad's gonna be fast asleep. That mama gonna hear that baby. The adult kids don't even get. Do not get me started on adulting kids 18 and older. It's a whole nother ball game. You think you got some shit going on now when they 17 and younger. You ain't seen nothing, but that's a whole nother story.
Redirect, redirect, redirect.
Oh, sorry.
So, by the way, I think Diamond did chime in with my question to her, and she said, we're talking about parents who are paying child support. So we were talking the taxes, and she came all the way up and said that. So we were on the same page on that one. All right. So now Toya said our son's mom would take from what we gave him and split it with his younger brother. When asked how he felt about that, it became evident that she raised them to feel obligated to look out for one another. I really don't have a problem with it. I know that Allison feels one kind of way about it. And, at the end of the day, the child support should be going to support the child that it's allotted to, like that it's for. I do believe that. But if you're a mom and mom has two kids, I actually do know somebody else that the other dad died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dad was dead. Like there was no coming back from that. Um, I don't have a problem with raising your kids to say, hey, what's good for Peter is good for Paul. You know what I mean? And going from there.
I
So
mean, can you imagine right now, Alistair, you out there? Can you imagine you pick up little Johnny? He like, hey, little Johnny, how you get that knuckle sandwich on your head? You got a big old knot. He's like, man, they was picking on my brother because he had these holes in his shoes, and they was clowning on him, so I had to jump in and then defend my brother's honor. Boo, boo, boo. I mean, you gonna be more mad because your son got beat up jumping in because he didn't have these. I mean, like at the end of the day,
but
for
that
me.
goes back to what Cash said. Well, then if you can't take care of these kids, let me take one of them off your hands.
Well,
Then
here's
turn them
the
over.
kicker, though. Let me stop you real quick, Cash. let me let me stop you real quick. At the end of the day, Liz, you made a statement about your own personal life. There was a time in your life where you were sitting crisscross applesauce in your living room, but you're not going to testify to that now. I know that in a general sense, you're a good mom. So yes, it would have may have been easier for you to say, "Hey, Dad, can you watch the baby?" While I'm getting on my feet. But at the end of the day, I know for me, in reference to like the kids, those are my babies. Like those are my babies, and I promise you, give me a little bit, and I'm gonna be on my feet. I couldn't separate from my kids if that's if I'm trying to say. Like
Right, and it's not easy,
I
but it's
can't.
also not easy for a father that wants to be a part, that is providing, to not be able to be a part either. I mean, those are his
Well,
babies
no, yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. But we're talking about the fact like it's so hard for the mom. Just give me my kid, and you don't, you could go ahead and do, talk about the other child. I mean, I don't know about that
I
one.
mean, like I'm not trying to sound cold about it. Clearly, there's nuances to that, right? But at the end of the day, if you are struggling like that, and you have two kids, and one of them can be provided for their father by their father, and he wants custody of that kid, as a mom, if you really want what's best for your child, not for your ego, not for
That's
your
true.
feelings, but what is best for your child. Even if it is temporary, even if it's, hey, you know what? While I get through this little patch that I'm in,
But
let
here's
me
the
work.
caveat to that. I know because I know the system, I know once that you are talking about custody rights and this and that. Because here's the kicker. If let's just use Cash for instance. If Cash says, "Hey, give me my child because you're in a jam." All right. I want to know what's best for my kid. You
Mhm.
take the kid and he's raising the kid. If Cash decided to move to Hawaii, I have no rights and I'm not getting that child back because
That's fine.
Hawaii is a whole different type of ball game. And it's not even called kidnapping or anything. I would have to move to Hawaii and then fight for the rights of my child. So I know based upon the state that you live in, it's harder. Once you give that kid up and say, "Hey, hold me down for a couple of months or go take me to court," you may not see that child back again. It's per state. Those situations are per state.
It is okay. It is per state, right? But we are talking kind of in a general sense, and in most instances, the man is not going to pick up and move to Hawaii, right? And
I've
furthermore,
seen it.
it's where the child, where the like, when it was me, I got married in Duval County, and so everything had to go through Duval County, even though none of us were living in Duval County all the way until she was 18. Duval held that case, right? So it's always going to vary, but at the end of the day, what you are doing is best for your child, and as long as he can provide, and he is providing, and the kid is in a better
Uh,
situation and you can provide for
I'm
them
telling you
as
off of
a
facts.
mother, do what's best for your kid.
I'm telling you off of facts, and that's from being in the system from Florida and in New York. If you let that baby go, you are taking a short chance on you getting that baby back.
But you're
I
letting
mean,
them go to a better situation. Now if that turns out to be crazy, and is
well,
you
here's
know
the kicker. Right
you let
now,
them go
but
legally.
we clearly stated though. So you was in a jam for a couple of months, not 5 years, not 20 years, just for a short time. Everybody gets into a jam and falls on their face or whatever the case may be. We gonna make do. We gonna sit crisscross applesauce with the candle on, doing what we got to do. I don't know. Just for me, I've seen it. I've seen people
Yeah,
get
but
lost.
no, because we're talking about two different things though. So I was in a jam. It was only two of us. But if it was, I was in a jam with my kid who can be taken care of, and then I turned around and got pregnant, and I couldn't take care of myself to begin with, and then I turned around and got pregnant again. Yo,
Well,
if that
no, that's a
kid,
little
hey,
different. That's
said,
a
"Give
little
me my
different.
kid," like you're immature.
That's a
You're
little
making
different.
poor decisions. Move on.
That's a little different. That's a little different. Definitely, that's a little different. Let's wrap up this these comments and then we can wrap up. I've just seen the time like damn.
Yes, it's a lot, right? And so let's see. Facts. I'm going to take the money because I'm keeping on the lights, water, mortgage, rent, and so yes, reimbursement. And she's saying facts. We can actually skip all the way up to Diamond. You need, she said, she said, Kia, you need to stop. That's when you're acting up. So, we were talking about we read that one already too. And so he said, I feel you both, but from experience, it was crushing to have to watch helplessly while our son's mom decided to go into a shelter without agreeing to let him stay with
Oh
us. Well,
yeah, 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 yeah. No, 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 no,
that's
no.
my point. She's not making decisions based on what's in the best interest of the child.
And hear this. I've actually been a homeless kid. I know exactly what it's like to be a homeless kid and a homeless teenager. At the end of the day, the conversations do need to have. Don't let the child suffer just because of whatever pride or whatever you
Your
have going
ego,
on.
you're
Because
controlling,
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah,
feeling,
yeah,
oh, but it's my baby.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
what's
yeah,
best for
yeah.
your baby.
No, no, no. So I definitely understand what you're saying, and I'm definitely sorry that you had to sit back and watch that. once again, for my last 3 point before I pass it to you for your last words, is just to say it has to be revamped. The system has been set up to unfortunately affect us in the worst kind of way. One thing that I wish that we would do as a community is kind of shame the parents who are not taking care of their kids. I would see, guys hanging out on the corner, knowing that, the kids' recitals on a Tuesday or whatever, and you hanging out with me. Like, that the father's a deadbeat. You talking about all types of other topics except for, hey, bro, we got to get this together, because it does take a community to help raise that kid, and we all play a responsible part. And even for women, we got to clean up our act too. You know what's good. You open them legs, the man them drop them drawers, like y'all both know what's good. We can sit here and talk all day about how the system's wrong, but at the end of the day, who's screwing who? But let's read these last comments, and then you got the last words, Liz.
So let's see. Don said, "What would you say if the child is dead and the other child is 24? Do you think it's right that the father should still pay child support to the mother?" I don't know. This is like a really specific situation, and I don't know.
Well, I had talked about it earlier. Once the child is an adult, I think that something has to be revamped. You know what I'm saying? Because it's called child support for a reason. Um, that is a specific situation, and I think that it has to be mediated by the court. At the end of the day.
Yeah. So Chantel said child support exists because co-parent doesn't. I'm gonna actually change that just a little bit. Child support, it should exist if co-parenting does. If co-parenting doesn't.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
ideally that's to the last resort side of things.
And you got the last word, Liz. But I just want to say, I want to thank for all the parents out there who are doing it, who have at least attempted. I know men who have struggled, who have cried because they're not able to see their kids. They're doing what they need to do. They are the players. They have the receipts to prove it, and for whatever reason, that mama ratchet as hell or that daddy ratchet as hell, and they're just not doing what they need to do. And at the end of the day, the only person that hurts is that child, because this leaves an impact now all the way, to the future, and the child starts to question and ask, why is mom, why is dad doing these things? And it's not about us, but go ahead, Liz, with your last words.
So, well, first of all, thanks for the engagement tonight. The comment section was on fire. We always appreciate that. This was one of those topics that was, it's touchy, it's personal. I feel like as women, most of us have gone through it. We actually still have comments coming in, but let's see, Grown Honest Concepts. Don't forget about me, right? So this week's shirt is More Money, More Problems, because, for the dads out there, you guys know how that goes too. So there's that. For both parents out there, predominantly moms tend to have custody, right? It is not easy. More than respect to every woman that's ever had to do it, that has had to figure out how to feed their kids and get their kids through. They raised them. They're in ship shape, and with or without help, they did what they had to do. So respect to the mamas, respect to the dads. Sorry for the struggles sometimes. You know what I mean? Because there's always two sides to the coin. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of dads that they pay all the support they're supposed to pay, and then some. They come through, but when they come through, they can't necessarily see their kids. And we always sympathize with the mom and how the mom's making it and how the mom's struggling and everything else. But for any parent, and if you remove the word mom and you put parent in there, for any parent that can't necessarily access their kids like they want to, see their kids like they want to, speak their kids like to their kids like they want to, it affects. And we're not even worried about the dads so much as much as the kids. So moms, when you get that child support, or dads, whoever's receiving the child support, make sure it gets to the kids. And also, parents, do not get in the way of the other parent being a part of their lives. It's critical. It's not. You might have won the day, but your kid lost the war. So, look out for that. In any event, we are unfiltered and intentional. You can catch us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on Twitter. We are out. Did I miss any, Kia?
No, we're out there. I just appreciate everybody. And like you said, the comment section was on fire. Just like and subscribe on YouTube. Like I said, sometimes we didn't even have an idea for a show, and then all of a sudden we'll see something crazy like we got to talk about it. And unfortunately, in the Black community, we are never going to be limited on topics that we talk about, because we always do something, right? But no, we'll see you. next weekend, as long as everything is good to go, ain't nothing crazy happening. And we love you. Bye. Good night.